Talk a lot about, do you need a website? Another good question. What does your storefront look like? Now, I talked about damonbrown.net a little bit earlier, where that allows you um, to buy things through my website. But let's go a little bit deeper into this idea. You absolutely need a storefront. If you do not have a storefront, then how are people going to buy your products? How are they going to know your offerings? How do they actually interact with you? That's a big, big question. I'll go ahead and put DameBrown.net back on there so you can see what I'm talking about. And so again, it shows at DameBrown.net. Shout out to Strikingly for the website platform. It allows me, or allows you as a potential customer or someone who's coming through that's interested in it, to learn what I'm about, like who is Damon, quite literally, and then to even purchase my products, my coaching, my new complete Bring Your Worth collection, some of my older titles, as far as passive writer, everything is in there. This is my storefront for everything. It allows me, if you're interested in the book, you can collect the paperback or digital version of The Passive Writer. Again, shout out to Jeanette Hurt. And then you can add it to the cart. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can add it to the cart and pay for it right in there. So it's an all encompassing thing. Just recently, just like last few days, there was a lawsuit, a long-standing lawsuit. This lawsuit was happening for so long. I think when the lawsuit first came up, I was living in Silicon Valley and hadn't done my first startup yet. We're talking like 10, 15 years ago, between Apple and one of the major video game platforms called Epic Games. You know them from Fortnite and other folks like that. For decade plus, Apple would automatically take 30% or so from any sale that was done on the App Store. 30%. If you have $1, you're getting 70 cents. They just lost the lawsuit. So now, in many cases, I don't think it's all cases, Apple cannot take at least that full 30%. They've been fighting about that in courts, again, for 10 to 15 years. I remember when it first came out, right when the App Store was launched. If you think about when the App Store was launched, around 2010, I'm not kidding. So it's been a good 15 years. They just lost that lawsuit. So now, if I'm a customer buying something from Epic Games or one of these platforms, finally, the company itself, when I send them $1, they might actually be getting $1. Other than that, they're getting 70 cents or less, depending on the situation. Think about that. That was one of the reasons why I have my storefront. This was a conscious decision. It was a conscious decision for me to be like, no, 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 no. I don't want the middlemen. I want it so that if you, it's like, hey, I want a copy of the complete Bring Your Worth collection. And it's like, great, I will send you a signed copy. It's like, awesome, go to DamonBrown.net, put as many as you like in the cart. We can make more. Put in the cart, cool. When you go ahead and put it in the cart and you pay for it, then it goes to my bank. It goes to my credit union. And then I go ahead and take care of it for you. It goes to my business, as opposed to having all these different things. If you end up doing purchases through a Facebook, if you end up having your customers purchase through, I think Twitter might start allowing purchases now. I'm not on Twitter like I used to be because reasons. But if you do your purchases and have your customer buy things through that, then you automatically have a chunk. We'll close that up. You automatically have a chunk going to your audience. I'm sorry, to the third party. And so if you do not have a proper storefront, then you're literally leaving money on the table. And then how are people supposed to get to what you're doing? So your storefront, in my opinion, should be a place where they learn about your business, also about you a little bit, because they don't know who you are. So even if it's an about page or something simple, one. Number two, all the products and services you have available. And then number three, ideally a way to just put it in the cart and purchase it. Now, if you do a lot more in-person stuff, even that can be helpful because I've done keynotes all across the country and then have done a couple overseas. Somebody might not be ready to buy when they see you, or when they see you like in person and you have your goods out there. Like if I had my books laid out, they might be like, hey, I might not want it, but my cousin would love this book, would love this product. Then what? You can tell them to follow you on Instagram, DM me, and you can get a copy of the book. That might be easier, but the level of trust that you have when you have an actual storefront, the amount of trust that you can have in your system when people can buy things directly from you. Again, you can go grab any of my stuff right now. I don't have to go and stop the phone and be like, oh, well, let me do. So having that system as strong as possible is why you have a storefront. We're talking right now, we're hanging out, we got the live show, I see your comments. Great. I don't have to worry about if someone wants to buy a copy of the book or wants to check out my coaching services because it's already automated. That's what the storefront does to you. So in the short term, yes, being on social media, having people DM you if they want more information, that in the short term, it feels quicker. I don't need a storefront. Hit me up on Instagram. Cool, whatever, right? And I know some people that do that and it works for them really well. The problem is that you're always going to be working, number one. Number two, it doesn't have the same trust as there being a damonbrown.net. That's the website. You're just going to give me money? You're just going to DM it to me? Send it on Cash App or whatever is hot whenever you happen to be listening to this? Nah, it doesn't have quite that gravitas. And so as you set up your new business, I would highly recommend you think about what you want your storefront to look like. That really matters a lot. When it comes to storefronts, I mean, we have talked about the OG. We have talked about Shopify, and they are the OG for a reason. Again, you see the list of names. Shout out to some of those names. I think y'all might have some of y'all in my closet. Shopify allows this. Allows you to push your particular products or services onto the social media platforms, allows you to do seamless checkout, and as they say, it's all in one, where it takes care of the payments and the secure transactions and even some of the shipping, though I think you still need to be involved in some of those ways. What I like about Shopify is that we're going to talk about e-commerce a little bit in the second discussion. I'm sorry, in the third discussion about getting paid. So be sure and stay tuned for that. When it comes to getting paid in e-commerce and so forth, one of the nice things is that Shopify is the leader, I would say the market leader with this. So they probably already have the information on your potential customer. And so if I go into Shopify and I'm like, hey, I want to buy something for my mother for Mother's Day, I can go on there because we're like, oh yeah, Damon, we already got your credit card or debit card information or your PayPal or whatever I happen to use. Great. Okay. Then I'm going to purchase that new stuff from you, even though I don't know who you are aside from this business that has a product that I want to get for my mother. Shopify has it locked in. And so because they're the market leader in that makes it a lot easier. Similar to an Amazon or other platforms, when you're the leader, you can do that. I found them a little bit more expensive than some of the alternatives, and I'm actually going to suggest an alternative as well. But they have the system, and they're also very trusted within this space. Shopify is a great option. Be sure and click the link. There's actually some, I think they have some special stuff going on as well. So for Bring Your Worth viewers. And then an up and coming one, which I learned about earlier this year, and I like quite a bit. It's called Selfie. these names, but Selfie, and it is an up and comer. Let me go ahead and tell you about them. Selfie is interesting because it's kind of taking that Shopify concept, pushing it a little bit further, where you can actually contain your products on there. So we're talking digital products. I have audiobooks, and shout to my musician friends. I love y'all. And so people who are making music, people who are creating things in an audio platform, print on demand, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. The print on demand, which allows you to ship stuff out, subscription services, no transaction fees, and then I'm going to hop on down because they actually have a they had one section here that was about pricing. Unfortunately, I think where is the pricing? I think I lost it from here, but I'll tell you about it. So with Selfie, they actually have a flat fee as opposed to it being based on transaction. Again, let me repeat that. It being a flat fee instead of being based on transaction. In other words, with your business, you pay them a flat fee to host your stuff, to share your stuff, et cetera, et cetera. You could sell one, you can sell, I don't know, let's say 500. Unless there's a cap that there might be a cap that's in the super high numbers, right? If you're the next viral sensation, you might need to upgrade. But for the most part, it's a flat fee. So it doesn't matter how many you sell and how many products you get out there. So that comes in handy when, for instance, for me, sometimes I'll sell a bunch of books, particularly after I've done like a talk or I'm on a TEDx stage or something. And then there'll be times where it'll be super quiet and I might sell just a handful of books. Same thing for, to get meta about it, views of bringyourworth.tv. They go up and down depending on what's happening in the world. If I happen to hit a vein, if you happen to be at a moment where you're really into business, then you might watch all my episodes. If you're not, then maybe you won't watch as many. It's important, I think, to partner with organizations that will support you no matter what, versus you being able to afford them when things are really hot. With the flat fee system, if it's within your budget, it makes sense. Because then when things wildly swing, and I wish you all the success in the world, when you hit those waves, I've had several waves in my career where it's like, feel like, you know, business wise, things are ridiculously hot. And then things get chill and then things get hot again. So you want to work with organizations that allow you to have that flexibility. Again, we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to the third part of the discussion when we talk about e-commerce. That's a really important part of it because whatever e-commerce partners you have, you want to make sure it's sustainable. What I like about Selfie is that all of these things are usually split into different parts. Usually one for print on demand. There's usually one for digital products. There's usually one for physical products. There's one for affiliate marketing. There's one for subscription. This has a lot of these things. If you think about like a Patreon here and a Shopify over here and all that, this is a really good conglomerate. And in talking with them, they actually have a special just for Bring Your Worth to View viewers. If you type in the code special when you check out, you're actually going to get a nice percentage off. And I mean really nice. Wink, wink. So be sure and check them out. And of course, because it's promotional, you'll be helping support the show. So I appreciate y'all. Got to talk about audience. Build audience from scratch. One of the most popular Bring Your Worth Bring Your Worth episodes, blah blah blah, from the archives. Not that far back, but it feels like it was a good year or two ago. Be sure and check it out. It's a best of 3 or 4 episodes that talk about audiences and how you can build the audience. Again, if you're not promoting your book, then you've written a diary. If you have an app on the App Store but nobody knows it's there, then you just did a project. You don't really have a business. We're gonna kind of get you to the next level of that. That's why we're talking about this in this first episode of this series, talking about starting your business, is that we have to start with these foundations. As we just talked about earlier in the episode, you got to have a website, you got to have a storefront. What are your questions as far as having a storefront? What are your concerns? Are you building something that's a physical or digital product? And what are your concerns when it comes to having a storefront about it? Jump in the comments and myself, or maybe even some of the other viewers will jump in. Even if you're watching the replay of this, be sure and do not be shy. ask your questions, and then happy to chat more with you. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown. I'm here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. You're watching Bringing Your Worth TV live Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. This again is part one of our series. Number one, finally start your business. The whole series, all month long. Watch the whole series at the link below. Ow, my hands are just flying. But New Jersey's coming out. Watch the whole series, 1 through 4. Start your business now. If you're watching this live, then that means the live episodes are coming. Even more exciting, so that means you can participate, jump in the comments, say what's up, and maybe you'll get some of your answered, questions answered, some of your answers answered, your questions answered. And if you want to lock in, you can click on the link. All 4 episodes are there. And then you can go ahead and click on the individual episodes that you're most interested in. I'd say do the whole thing, but click on the episodes you're most interested in, then click the notification bell so you'll get a heads up when they go live and you can jump in.